Hello, this is Paul Chek. Welcome back to yet another one of my video blogs, which I hope you enjoy. I'm here today to share a little bit about learning to use your inner vision, and I thought I would share a little bit of the kind of techniques I will be teaching in my upcoming Power Animal and Spirit Guide Retrieval workshop, and then the second day with Chek on working with nature divination, and other helpful shamanic practices, which is a few weeks away now. So today what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you about how to practice using your inner vision, and I'm going to give you an exercise to do. But I'm going to start by explaining a couple of things. Most people have quite a hard time with using their third eye, which is what is giving us the ability to envision, to see inside of ourselves. For example, a lot of people can't see auras, and one of the reasons is that they are trying to see auras with their physical eyes without realizing that the physical eyes are limited to the frequency range of the rods and cones of the eyes, which is the color spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, which can be broken down into vibrational frequencies in angstroms, which is how those light frequencies are measured. When we're working with power animals and spirit guides, we are not working with sensory information. Right now, you're looking at me, you're seeing my water charger and the scenery. That's all what you can pick up. You're hearing me. That's all what you can pick up through the frequency range of your five senses. But if you look, for example, at my free lesson on YouTube on Power Animals and Spirit Guides, I show you the electromagnetic spectrum, and that what we can perceive is very, very narrow with our five senses. I point out vision and show you it's a very tiny amount of the frequency ranges that we can reach. And I also showed images, I believe, in my lessons that you get, the online lessons you get when you register for the workshop to get ready. I show you, for example, that if you look at images taken with different types of telescopes, typical telescopes that work on what you can see through the mirrors with your eye, then X-ray telescopes, infrared telescopes, and telescopes working in different frequencies, and you look at the same image from different frequency lengths, you see all sorts of stuff that you do not see with the standard telescope that relies on the sensory information you can get with your eyes. And so for those that think things like power animals and spirit guides aren't real and it's just a bunch of BS, they don't realize that would be the equivalent of saying that what these other telescopes at different frequency ranges are picking up is just a bunch of BS as well, which would mean just because you can't see X-rays, that what you look at it on an X-ray image isn't true, when we know for a fact that it is true. So with that said, the point I'm making is that we have to learn to use our inner visioning systems, because we do have the capacity to pick up what is called non-sensory information, but we have to use subtle energy systems within our body, and it takes practice to learn to integrate your consciousness with the subtle vibrations that exist in you and around you at all times. One of the key points I'll make is that we actually learn or have the capacity to image long before we have the capacity for language, and that's well documented in research. Doing a lot of therapy with people that have traumas, for example, that can go all the way back to in the womb, countless numbers of my patients and people on record will, when I'm doing deep therapeutic sessions or regressive type work with them, have very clear images and experience of what was going on inside of them, what they were perceiving as images while they were a neonate in their mother's womb. The difference is that now that they have language capacity, they can describe the images. The neonate doesn't have that language capacity, but it definitely does have the capacity for feeling. It knows, for example, when mother is being threatened by father or some external situation, because the images that it's picking up inside of itself, coupled with the hormonal reactions it's getting through the mother and its own bloodstream passing in through the mother through the placenta, trigger off images, associations, and feelings. This is one of the reasons, for example, that some children are born and already, right out of the womb, don't want to interact with their father because they're already aware of who their father is by the images, the sounds, the feelings, and hormonal reactions that they're picking up whenever daddy's around, if daddy's being unpleasant. So, with that stated, what I want to do today to give you a sample of the kind of work that I'll take you through in the Power Animal and Spirit Guide workshop, and the kind of work that Angie will be doing with you in a different way, in a slightly different approach, is that we want to learn to practice envisioning using the third eye, which is the sixth chakra. When I'm looking at somebody's aura, yes, I'm looking at the person, and oftentimes I do have my eyes open. But what I'm actually reading is the inner image that rises up whenever I'm looking out at anything, and we all have that happening. The brain centers are creating an electromagnetic field, just like a television screen, except it's on the inside, and we are able to bring our awareness inside and actually pick up what's going on, and the electromagnetic field or range of frequencies within us is far vaster than our sensory neurons will pick up and communicate to us as conscious information until we learn how to develop our ability to do that. And with that comes the growth of what many spiritual teachers call subtle organs. So we develop the correlate of inner eyes or inner senses. So one of the key things when you're doing envisioning work, and I'll tell you what the number one blocking factor is that people have been conditioned through parents, schools, society, and basically, unfortunately, the people in society that have the least amount of skill and the least amount of development to believe that if you can't see it, it's not real, or things like that aren't possible. Yet, for as long as human beings have been keeping records, we've had healers that were able to do amazing things. We've had seers, we've had oracles, like the Oracle of Delphi, all sorts of stuff that have demonstrated over and over again that we can do these things. In fact, if you want to read a great book, look at The Secret Life of Nature by, I think it's Christopher Bird, either Christopher Bird or Peter Tompkins, one of the two. And he shows you the amazing things that clairvoyants like Steiner, Madame Blavatsky, and others were able to see that were later verified by science many, many years later, all the while people were telling them they were nuts. So the first hurdle one has to jump in order to do effective envisioning is to be able to get past any beliefs that you can't do it. Whatever you believe becomes real for you. There's nothing more real than a belief. If you can get yourself into a state of open-mindedness and receptivity and explore it like a child, and in fact children learn these things quite easily because they don't have all this mumbo-jumbo in their head, then you'll be able to begin to see with your insight, your inner visioning. So first step is removing doubt, and if you can't easily remove doubt, then just say, well, let me explore and see what happens, and go into it with an open heart and an open mind, which is also hard for people to do. But hey, this workshop's not for the average or the ordinary person. This is for people that want to grow themselves spiritually and achieve their full potential. As Carl Jung said, the average man can never be successful. Nothing that I teach is for the average. This is for people that want to grow to their potential and be a force of healing, love, and harmony in the world. So step one is remove your own doubt. Step two is getting yourself calm enough and centered enough. So trying to do envisioning, if you're drinking coffee or tea or any kind of stimulant, is usually a blocking factor, because those things push you up into the sympathetic system, and once you get enough adrenaline and cortisol in you, the body starts orienting itself outward to any potential threat in the environment, whether there is one or not. If you have too much adrenaline or cortisol in the system, it triggers the system into a fight or flight reaction, which narrows the focus, drives a person into their left brain, more logically oriented hemisphere, and stops them from a process that requires open receptivity and full access to the left and right brain hemispheres in a harmonic relationship. So as I've shared in a number of my blogs over the years, using a breathing technique like a 4-6-8 breathing technique, so inhaling through the nose and expanding the belly fully for 4 seconds, holding that breath for 6 seconds, and letting the air out for 8 seconds with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, mouth open, and imagine you're just breathing all the stress out of your body. And take the belly and just draw the belly button in slightly to push any of the stale air out of the lungs, but don't force it or flex. It's just a drawing in, like you're buttoning up your pants. So what I would recommend, if you want to really do well with the exercise I'm showing you, would be to pause the recording and do a good 6 to 10 minutes of 4-6-8 breathing. And while you're doing that, hold the thought, I am open to my inner vision. I am open to my inner vision. I see clearly inside myself. I see clearly inside myself. And just repeat to yourself, I am open to my inner vision. I see clearly inside myself. So on the inhale, you could say, I'm open to my inner vision, not loud with mouth, but in head. Pause and relax. And as you exhale, I see clearly with my inner vision. And get really relaxed. Then the next thing you want to do, it helps to touch your third eye, which is right where your eyebrows would meet if they kept going, right there. By bringing your mind and your orientation to where your third eye is, if you put a little pressure on it for a minute or a few seconds and then take it away, it's almost like your finger's still there. Then when I ask you to close your eyes, I'm going to have you look at the water charger. Just know that your third eye energy center is right there. But when I use my inner vision, I don't bring it out to the surface. I actually orient myself to the inside, as though I'm inside my brain and my cerebral spinal fluid. I'm not looking at the brain structures. I'm just picking up the energy and information that arises, which can show up as images, colors. You can even get sounds coupled with these images and colors. So once you have done those steps, for example, I would look at my water charger, and what you want to do, especially for a beginner, is capture an image. So what I would say for you to do right now is look at the water charger, and I've chosen the water charger because it's full of energy. It's pulsing with energy. I can feel it like a giant heartbeat hitting me. And I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to program you to what you're going to see. But what you want to do is look at it with a relaxed gaze, almost as though you're drinking the image into yourself while staying very relaxed. And then practice closing your eyes and see if you can hold the image of the water charger. If you're having a hard time picking up the image, look again, and then you can pause your recording on your computer or whatever you're watching it on your phone, and then see if you can hold the image. So it's almost like you're taking a photograph of it and holding it inside yourself so you can see it with your eyes closed. Once you can hold the image, then what you do is you just relax on the image. Now with time you'll be able to do it with your eyes closed, but initially when you overwhelm the sensory system with information coming from outside, it's much harder to pick up the information that's present on the inside because we're conditioned to do that. There's not too many things that'll kill you on the inside, but in nature our threats come from outside of us generally. Once you can hold the image still, then just look to see, ask your soul to magnify the energy or information, energy and information, to see what's happening with the vibrations, with the light, with the subtle energy that the physical eyes cannot see. So in myself, I would look at the water charger. Now I can do it with my eyes open. And then I bring my conscious awareness up inside myself. And at the same time I'm looking at it, I'm also having an image inside of it. But then I hold the intention of seeing everything that my eyes do not pick up. And I look for connections. I look to see how the energy's flowing, what's happening, just the same way I look at somebody's aura. So by practicing that, you learn one of the basic skills that you need to work with things like power animals, spirit guides, to read auras, to do all sorts of things, sometimes just for fun. In the past, my wife's sitting right behind the camera right now. She can tell you I'm able to do this. At Christmas time or birthdays, I'll just hold the package up to my head and look through the package with my third eye, and quite consistently I can tell you what's inside that package. But these are the little things you can practice. That's another simple practice. If something's in a box and you don't know what's in it, hold it up to your head or close to your head and use your consciousness to project yourself inside the box and pick up an image of what's inside the box. So in a nutshell, what I've said is step number 1, clear yourself of negative doubt. If you're having a hard time with that, be brave enough to say, let me just explore. Let me be like a kid exploring something new. Once you've got that done, do some 4-6-8 breathing, which is relaxing and stimulates the parasympathetic system and integrates the left and right brain hemispheres. If you know how to do alternate nostril breathing, that will also integrate the left and right brain hemispheres. Then as you're breathing, you're going to say, I am opening myself to being able to see with my third eye. I am happy to see what's inside me with my third eye. Something along the lines of the words I used earlier. Something that affirms your willingness to look inside. Then what I suggested you do is you look at the water charger. I've chosen that because there's a lot of energy coming off of it, just like there's a lot of energy coming off of a human body. So wherever there's a live anything with a lot of energy flow, like a river or a tree or a bird or anything that's alive, there's a lot more you can see, eat more easily with your third eye than you can, say, looking at a pencil or an eraser or a table, because those things don't have nearly as much energy coming off, although there is plenty to see in there when you get good enough to do it. So once you've got through the breathing and you have programmed yourself to relax and be open, then I suggest you look at it like you're looking at a piece of beautiful art, but instead of trying to focus on it and analyze it, drink it in with your eyes and allow it to enter into your body. And then just, for beginners, close your eyes while holding the image. While you're holding the image, just ask your inner consciousness or your soul to show you everything that is there, but that your physical eyes cannot see. And I'm not going to say what I see, because like I said, I don't want to program you. And what you can do is participate by sharing in the comment boxes what you saw. And if you want to go much deeper and learn how to use these things, these types of practices, to work with your psyche or consciousness at a much deeper level, I'm very excited to be able to introduce you to the process of identifying which power animals are present with you in your field and working with you now. And they're working with you unconsciously, but the difference is when you're conscious of it, you can take it far, far further. If you take the concept of a guardian angel in Christian theology is something that's always with you, but very few people are aware of it other than an idea. But once you know you have a guardian angel, then you can connect to the guardian angel and talk to it. And though many people think stuff like this is weird, I would ask you this: can you objectify any of your thoughts? Can you actually tangibly objectify what that thought is, where it comes from, how much energy it has, what it's made of? Well, that's pretty impossible to do. You can use an electroencephalogram or other devices to see that something's moving, but you don't really know where it came from, how it got there, or where it's going. You just know that you're able to think, and that's what happens. So think of all the demons running around in most people's heads, such as, oh, I don't look good enough, I'll never be this, or so-and-so that, or all the beliefs that people have about various religious deities or whatever. Well, those things are things that control people's lives all the time and lead them to depression and sadness and or positive things such as happiness and wholeness. So the point that I'm making is working with power animals and spirit guides conceptually is no different than working with your thoughts and your feelings that already exist. It's just a way of categorizing consciousness as it flows through you and being open to what you normally can't see because you're conditioned not to see it or not to believe it. So go ahead now and practice doing all the steps and allow things to rise up in you. And if you find that you're just getting a blank, then just start with the basic principle of holding the image. Look at the picture of the water charger on your screen. Hold the image, close your eyes, and keep seeing the image. If you can see the image of what you were just looking at, which is kind of like when you see a flashlight, a camera flash go off, even when your eyes are closed for a while, you still see the flash in there because the neurons are basically reverberating and the energy stays within the system till it bleeds off. So you can hold that image. Most of you do this all the time without even realizing it. For example, if you just close your eyes right now and relax, I'm going to say a word and you tell me what image jumps up. Cow. Cow. Now, how many of you all of a sudden saw a strawberry when I said cow? Highly doubt any of you did, because the vibration of my voice and the language interpreted in your psyche, the word cow is coupled with the image of a cow. So we all have these images, but we actually kind of get numb to looking at them because we're so outwardly oriented with our senses, which is why I developed the concept of working in so that we could grow our inner development and get a much richer experience of life. And I use these techniques very frequently to help figure out what's wrong with people, to find things inside of people that haven't been picked up, and a number of other things that are very, very useful, but you won't trust yourself until you practice with simple and safe things. So the way that you probably just saw a cow see the water charger, if you can get that far, you're doing quite well. I can take you further in the Power Animal Workshop. And let's get into this thing. Let's go much further. Let me guide you, and Angie guide you into a much, much more expansive experience of life and love and connection, and work on developing some skills that can really not only help you help yourself, but help you help other people. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Paul Chek.